Hey guys, it's cyoubx. I am back on cyoubx. I got a few video requests about how I personally practice, and honestly, I don't do too much. What I do is very basic, but it really works. In a month, I've improved about 2 seconds from sub 16 to sub 14. So I can tell you that it works. I can't tell you whether or not this is the best way to practice. It just simply works for me. So what I do is in the morning, I wake up, eat breakfast, brush my teeth, do whatever I want, and then right after that, for my first cubing session, I just do an average of 100. And the first solves of the day are always terrible, but I don't really care about that because the point of the average of 100 isn't to get the best time possible. It is to get the best time possible, but it's not to shed light on what your real average is. The point is to track your progress from day to day. So, for instance, today, well, I haven't finished my average of 100 yet, but yesterday, the average of 100 I think was a 14.58, and the day before was a 14.6, I think. So, and that's really, really characteristic. So, basically what's happening is I am improving about 0.02 seconds a day. And that's a very tangible number. It's very, very significant because although 14.58 isn't what I really average, what I really average is about low 14s, high 13s. What I've noticed is that because it's so consistent every single day, I'm doing the average of 100 in the morning without warm-ups, that even though the numbers, like the actual number is higher than what it really is, the change is the same. And what you're really looking for is the change. So 0.02 seconds a day of improvement is pretty good for me because, like, I don't want to sound conceited, but compared to someone who's over 40 seconds, I don't have as much to improve on. Yeah, see, that sounds really cocky, but it's sort of true. I mean, it gets harder to improve as you get better. Is that better? Yeah, whatever. Hopefully you guys get the point. So for me, 0.02 seconds is actually pretty significant. I like the improvement that I'm seeing. For people who are over 40 seconds, you might be improving a second a day by doing this, and it's really helpful. Now, as I said, this isn't to get an accurate measure of your time, but you do still want to try hard. And one way of motivating yourself is to shoot for a really nice number. For me, that's sub 13. So basically, my goal is to get a daily sub 13 average of 5 within that average of 100 as soon as possible. Now, right now, this morning, I've gone 31 solves in. I still haven't acquired that. But it's just a goal, and what I've found is that sometimes I won't even get sub 13, but what will happen is I will get sub 14. And the goal is that if you shoot for a number that's lower than what you possibly can really get, you'll be hitting numbers that are lower than what you would expect normally. So that's really helpful, and that's very good for improving. Now, the second thing that I do is I basically try to work on precision, because that's really important, especially since I do 5x5 a lot as well, and I'm starting to do 6x6. Those cubes don't really reverse corner cut, and they don't even corner cut that well. So, although I use a Guhong for 3x3, I'm not going to be really taking advantage of the corner cutting. In fact, I've tightened this cube so that I can only cut line to line. I can't do 45 degrees anymore. And I've done that on purpose. So doing an average of 100 really helps with that. And the biggest thing that I've noticed is sometimes people say they have really bad days, and they'll get like 2 seconds slower. Yeah, I have those days too. But by doing an average of 100, I can keep those in check, and so that my bad days are really only about 0.2 to 0.5 seconds slower than normal in terms of the average of 100. So basically, what happens, in my opinion, this is what happens to me when I get bad days, is basically I'll be looking at a piece. So let's say I have something like this. So I clearly know how to insert this, right? But what'll happen is I'll know that after I do this, I want to do a U2, but on bad days, before I complete this turn, I'm already trying to do U2. And as you can see, it locks up. And that's what's causing delay, and that's what's causing slower times. So by doing an average of 100, you want to work on precision. And by doing that, you can really focus on better turning, which will help you with bigger cubes, and it will help you with 3x3 in the long run. So that's important. So that's really the first session. The second cubing session happens after, I take a break after the average of 100. So after my break, after doing all other things that I have to do during the day, I come back and I do 50 more solves, or so. I mean, sometimes it's less. It doesn't really matter. But basically, no timer, no scrambler, just hand scramble, and you just want to do walkthrough solves in your head. You don't have to say anything out loud, especially if someone's around you. That could be really weird. But just look and just think mentally what you want to do. You can point things out, and you just want to work on, well, I don't know what I did there, but you just want to work on finger tricks. You want to work on look ahead. You want to, especially if you do CFOP, this is the time when you really practice your F2L. You want to really find optimal ways of doing certain things, and it's not just the basic cases either. I'm not talking about, oh, how do I insert this piece? Not really. I'm talking about finding ways to multi-pair, finding ways to insert multiple pairs, and just finding different ways to do different things. And it's very, very helpful. And then sometimes I will have, and that's my second session, sometimes I will have a third session, and it's very, very basic, but it's basically what everyone else does. It's just an average of 12. And basically this is when you really try to get the best times you can possibly get. And you just want to really push yourself to get really good times. And after doing the average of 100 and after doing the walkthrough solves, I think you'll find that your average of 12 will be fairly decent. It might not be a PB every single time. In fact, it probably shouldn't be. But you'll notice that you get pretty good times. Usually after doing this, I come back at around 7 o'clock at night or in the evening, and I do an average of 12, and it's usually sub 14. So it does help. It helps a lot. And that's really the only thing I do for practice. I do an average of 100, compare times with the day before, and then I do 50 walkthrough solves, and then an average of 12. That's all I do. And I do this 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. On weekends, I don't really cube that much. But, I mean, if you want to, go ahead. I do find that resting does actually help you. In fact, some people have said that, putting down the cube for a year and then coming back has helped them improve. I do believe that because that happened to me as well. I actually quit cubing for 11 months in the past, and when I came back, I actually improved by about, I think it was about 6 seconds. I went from 28 to 22, 23. So, yeah, it was interesting how that worked, and that's why I still build it into my routine. On weekends, take a break. Mondays are actually pretty good, in my experience. So, you guys can try this out, and you can modify it for whatever puzzle you want to do. Clearly, I probably wouldn't do an average of 100 for 7x7, but you can definitely do it if you want. And, yeah, so that's all I do for practicing, really. And there wasn't too much action on the screen today. It was just me talking, but hopefully you guys gained some insight, and hopefully that clears up some confusion about how to practice. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Toodles.